What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fat Fuel channel, where we speak the truth, we're honest, we give our takes on the Philadelphia 76ers. Yes, it's in the middle of April. You know what that means. It is time for the NBA playoffs. And unfortunately for the Sixers, because that's the team, that's my favorite team in the NBA. That's the team I ride or die with, is the Philadelphia 76ers. No matter how many times they give me heartbreak, never going to leave them. Just like every sports team. The Phillies, the Dolphins, North Carolina, the 76ers, ride or die, no matter what. And unfortunately for them, their postseason begins Wednesday night in the play-in tournament. Technically, it's not a part of the postseason, but they have to beat the Miami Heat on Wednesday night in order to get into the playoffs. And going into today, there was a three-way tie with the Orlando Magic, the Indiana Pacers, and the Philadelphia 76ers. And the Magic had the head-to-head over the Sixers because the Magic won their division. So the Magic won their division in God knows how long. So now they're the fifth seed in the playoffs. They're playing the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round. The Pacers, they have the head-to-head over the Sixers because they have more victories over the Sixers than we did over the Indiana Pacers. So they are the sixth seed, and they are playing the Milwaukee Bucks. And Doc Rivers and the Bucks are absolute frauds for the shit they pulled today. 12 points in the second quarter against the Orlando Magic. They played their worst game of the entire season, and they purposely tanked so that they could play the Indiana Pacers in the first round of the NBA playoffs. And now that means the winner of the Miami Heat and the Sixers, they're going to play the New York Knicks in the first round of the playoffs. And if you ask me, I see some people on Twitter, and they're saying that, oh, Doc Rivers in the playoffs, Giannis isn't 100%. Guess what? I feel good about a potential first-round matchup against the New York Knicks. Now, obviously, throughout this process, you can't look ahead. You have to take this series by series, game by game. So what the priority should be for the Philadelphia 76ers and this fan base right now is Wednesday night against the Miami Heat in the play-in tournament. Because guess what? If we don't beat the Miami Heat on Wednesday night, you get Boston in the first round. And at that point, there's really no point of me even making videos about the Sixers in the playoffs because they're just going to lose to Boston in about 5 games in the first round. There would be absolutely no point of me coming on here and talking about these playoff games when they're playing the best team in the NBA in the first round, and I know their fate. But you can blame the Milwaukee Bucks for the Sixers not getting a 6th or 5th seed, but got to do some looking back. And I know that Joel Embiid was injured for most of this season, and I called it quits when he got hurt. I'm like, I just don't know how this team is going to survive without Joel Embiid. And Joel Embiid was the glue to this team. You want to know why? Because when Joel Embiid, when he is back, he's been back for about a week and a half now. The Sixers have not lost. They have not lost a basketball game since March 31st. I'm sorry. They have not lost a basketball game since March 29th. Since Joel Embiid has came back, the 76ers have 7 wins in a row. They have 8 wins in a row, but Joel Embiid's been back for 7 games now. And all 7 of those games, the Philadelphia 76ers have won. That's impressive, I'm not going to lie. But we have to pump the brakes. And what I mean by pumping the brakes is we have to slow down. And the reason I say we have to slow down about this is because look at the competition that the Philadelphia 76ers have played in the past couple of weeks. I was at the game on Tuesday night at the Wells Fargo Center against the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons are the worst team in basketball. There are no competition. Since Joel Embiid has been back, they beat the Thunder without SGA. They beat the Miami Heat on the road, which is a really good win. I will give them that one. They beat the G League Memphis Grizzlies. It took them 2 overtimes to beat the San Antonio Spurs. They blew out the Pistons. They beat the Orlando Magic, which that game meant nothing now because the 76ers are still in the play-in tournament. And today, they blew out the Brooklyn Nets. You see the competition that's there. You're talking about a Thunder team without SGA. You're talking about the Grizzlies, the Spurs, the Pistons, the Brooklyn Nets. 2 of those games were good wins. The win against the Orlando Magic and the win against the Miami Heat. And we're going to need everybody to play well on Wednesday night against the Miami Heat because the 76ers, they get absolutely trounced whenever they play Boston in the NBA playoffs. A couple of years ago, Boston swept them, and obviously we know how last year went. 76ers had a 3-2 lead in the second round, and they blew it like they always do. But here's the also thing that I'm confident in. Nick Nurse is a good coach. Doc Rivers is not a good coach. You give Nick Nurse 3 days to game plan on the Miami Heat. He's probably already starting. He's probably in the lab cooking, game planning against Jimmy Butler and Bam and the Miami Heat, who's a very physical team. And we know how they operate. They went on a huge run last year, so they absolutely have the experience. But I trust Nick Nurse way more coming up with a game plan to stop the Heat than I do Doc Rivers. And Doc Rivers, the fraud, coaching the Milwaukee Bucks, avoiding the Miami Heat or the Sixers in the first round, and they get to play the Indiana Pacers, which I still think is going to be a decent series, but I think the Bucks are going to end up winning that series. This is probably the biggest playing game the NBA could get for the Eastern Conference. You're talking about Jimmy Butler versus Joel Embiid, another chapter in the saga between Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid. We know how good they are as friends. Nick Nurse against Erik Spoelstra, who is going to have to get the better game plan, who is going to execute better, who's going to make the adjustments. That is going to be big. And then, what team is going to be more physical? Is it going to be the Miami Heat, or is it going to be the Philadelphia 76ers? And Tobias Harris said it best. He said in order to beat the Miami Heat, you've got to be physical. And that's funny coming from somebody who is not a physical basketball player. For his size, Tobias Harris is not a physical basketball player. So we have our hands full. And they were a better team last year. I will say this. Last year, my honest opinion, the Miami Heat were a better team last year than they are this year. And the Philadelphia 76ers, I said better. I meant worse. They're a worse team than they were last year. But the Philadelphia 76ers are as well. So this is going to be a dogfight. And we can't sit here and complain, oh, the Milwaukee Bucks this, the Milwaukee Bucks that, because it's done and over with. 2 games. I don't cover every 76ers game. I don't cover the 76ers unless something big happens in the regular season. When it comes down to the playoffs, then I'm here talking about it. If they make the playoffs, I'm here talking about it. But I pay attention, folks. I pay attention. And do you know what 2 games came down and they bit the Sixers in the ass. It was 2 games in March against the Memphis Grizzlies and the Los Angeles Clippers. They blew a 15-point lead to the G League Memphis Grizzlies at home, and they lost. They ended up losing that game. There's no excuse for blowing a lead like that to a terrible team like that. And then the Los Angeles Clippers, they let that one slip through their fingers. Kelly Oubre costed them that game. The refs costed them that game. And now the Sixers are here. They're in the play-in tournament, and we're getting either the Knicks or the Celtics in the first round. So that's unfortunate. The playing game is on Wednesday, but it's not on Tuesday because the Flyers have a home game on Tuesday night against the Washington Capitals. And also, shout out to the 76ers for not playing Joel Embiid today. Very smart move. They ended up easily taking care of business against the Brooklyn Nets. And now you're resting Joel Embiid even more for Wednesday night's matchup against the Miami Heat. And hopefully we beat the Heat on Wednesday and we go into the first round and we play the New York Knicks. And that's a matchup I don't feel scared of. I know the Knicks are a very good team. Jalen Brunson is the top 5 player in the NBA this year. But I feel good about a potential matchup with the New York Knicks. I really do. So, but if they lose and they don't come through on Wednesday night, it's over. And it's technically not over because then they'll play the winner of the Bulls and Hawks. But, I mean, come on, folks. Who wants to play the Boston Celtics in the first round of the playoffs? Seriously. But that's all I got. Your 76ers, they're in the play-in tournament. And I will not be covering it on Wednesday night because of Dynamite. It's a go-home show before Dynasty next weekend. I'm not missing that. So I'll be here covering that over the playing game. But we've got so much content coming up next week. I've got something in the works as well. So I think you guys are going to be very excited about that. I'm very excited myself. We're working on it. And we've got more content coming up. We got Sixers playoffs. Hopefully the first game is not Sunday because if it's Sunday, then I can't cover it because Dynasty is on Sunday. So hopefully they just win and they play the Knicks hopefully on Saturday. Fingers crossed. But we'll have Dynamite. We'll have Dynasty predictions on Thursday. Hopefully we'll have the Sixers Knicks on Saturday. We'll have a preview hopefully on Friday for the Sixers Knicks. If the Sixers don't win, then we'll be here talking about the game on Friday. But I'm just getting out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As usual, hit the like button, comment down below, follow me on Twitter, Colin_Joseph. I'm getting out. Have a good night. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy. And I'm out. Peace.